Hey, I'm Eddie Russell, the Associate Master Distiller for Wild Turkey. I'm in my 31st year of making Wild Turkey bourbon. I'm the third generation in our distillery, the fourth in the family. My great-grandfather worked at a different distillery, and my grandfather worked at our distillery. My dad's been there for 58 years and still working today. A lot of my job pertains to tasting the whiskey, so we taste the White Dog right off the still. We taste samples every 2 years, and then we're tasting samples of every dump we make. This fall we're tasting the whiskey that we want to use in each one of our products for next year. You're checking grains, you're making sure the mashes are working good, you're checking your yeast, but a big part of it is just the tasting of it, you know, because I've got 31 years and I'm the youngest taster there, so you know, there's 5 of us that sit down and taste and rate by ourselves. So a lot of my day is spent tasting bourbon whiskey. No doubt the taste of the bourbon whiskey. The big deal for us at our plant is it's still a family type plant. I mean, I see all of our employees every day. I've known them my whole life. You know, I've worked with all of them for 30 years. So it's enjoyable just getting to be around people you know and basically friends that you work with every day. Somebody asked my father that one time and he said 6 months, which was probably true. In Kentucky, I'm sure my dad was sitting there with a drink in his hand when I was a little baby teething, and he probably rubbed bourbon on my gums to get me to quit crying. And then, you know, as you grow up, your grandmother gives you hot toddies. So really, as a good old Kentucky boy, you have a little taste of bourbon from a very young age. So I drank a little bit as I was growing up. I was always a bourbon guy. I never really drank much of anything else until I got a little older and understood that everybody that makes alcohol or spirits, somebody makes it right. So if you come into the right things, there's good rums, there's good tequilas, there's good wines, there's good things out there. But for me, really started drinking bourbon from a very young age and just kept growing into it from there. It was funny because I really didn't grow up thinking I was going to work at our plant. I grew up thinking I wanted to get out of my little hometown. It's a very small town, 6,000 people in the town. And I went to college and thought I'm going to get a college degree and move out of this little small town. And after college, I graduated with a business degree and thought I'd take a little time off and lay around the house, and my mom told my father, says, to give that boy a job, I'm tired of looking at him. So he started me out at the bottom. I rolled barrels, I dumped bottles, I painted buildings, I mowed grass, but it was just such a family type atmosphere. It was just really neat. Now the first week a lot of them were sort of scared of me because my dad was plant manager, master distiller and all that, but about a week in it was like I was one of the guys, you know, and within a couple weeks I knew this was in my blood and it was the home for me. So the first day was a hard day. It was very manual labor rolling them 500-pound barrels around, but just a wonderful time, you know, and it's been a great 31 years. Most of the time I drink my bourbon on the rocks. Now rare breed I usually just drink in a snifter glass, just neat, because it's such a pure form of bourbon. But I like a little ice in there. Now my father said, you know, like Scotch people always talked about, add a little water, it opens it up. My father never really believed that, but I like a little ice, and as it melts I think it brings out different flavors that you can taste in your whiskey. They're all great for me, but we hold a Boots and Bourbon event at the Bourbon Festival every year in Bardstown. It's the best event of the whole weekend, and I mean the whole week. It's Wednesday through Sunday. You see making barrels, you see barrel rolling contests, you get to taste all the whiskeys. They have jazz and bourbon, they have cigars and bourbon events. But we do a Boots and Bourbon event. We have a country band. You come in, you can eat, barbecue, you can dance. dance, you can drink. There's no seminars or nothing. It's just a big fun time. And right now we're cutting it off at 700 and still have people wanting to come to it. So it's just a great event. It's just one of those events that you go around. We got little games for them to play. They can drink all the bourbon they want to, have some great Kentucky barbecue. So it's just a very fun event for me. I enjoy bird hunting and playing golf. That's the two biggest things that I do. I have a son that plays baseball for the University of Kentucky, so I enjoy going to watch him play. My oldest son has been working for us as a tour guide since this summer, and he's just like me. A couple weeks in, he was just so enthralled by it. It's definitely in his blood. So yeah, I think once he gets out of college, he'll come right in and learn, because he's been so excited, and he's wore me and my father out both of, wanting to know about this and taking him on tours. So he's really got the bug, just like I did 31 years ago. What I tell him is, if you want to do it, there's a spot for you, because we want to carry on that tradition of the Russells. And the other thing I tell him is, 31 years later, I still love it. I still enjoy what I do. So that's not everybody gets to say that 31 years into a job. And I mean, my dad's got 58 years in, and I don't even think a thing about, I might have 58 years in one day. And most people don't think of that. They think about, when can I retire? For me, it's more of a life type deal.